This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, I'm Ace of Clay and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture. In today's video, I'm sculpting Baba Yaga. If you're not familiar with Baba Yaga, she is from Slavic folklore and she is this ugly, ferocious older woman that rides in a mortar and wields a pestle and a broom to cover her tracks. I know that was a lot to take in just now, but just picture it. She's this sort of witchy looking old lady that rides around in a giant mortar. A mortar and a pestle, it's one of those things that like you grind things with in the kitchen. Here's a picture of one. And she eats people and she's evil and she lives in the forest and she also has a house that is held up by chicken legs that can walk everywhere. I have gotten so many requests for her over the years and I finally made her, and I actually made her in this little diorama. She's got her entire mortar, she's got her pestle, she's got her broom, and she's ready to go. So I really hope you enjoy watching the process of me sculpting her from start to finish. But before we do that, we've got some new stuff that just dropped in the shop at aceofclay.com. We've got these two new prints. These may look familiar. These are reissues of the holographic prints that I released a while back. This one features all of the mutants and this one features the guides. These are not holographic. They are 130 pounds stock. They are super high quality and matte, and you get both of them in a pack for only $10. And then in addition to these new prints, I also have a new sticker with all of the guides on it. It is glow in the dark and it's really cool, and it is available as well, along with this brand new Snake of Clay sticker 2-pack. And again, all of these are available right now at aceofclay.com. Just go to my shop. And now without further ado, let's make Baba Yaga. Alright, let's get started. Now for this sculpture, I thought it would be appropriate to include some of the environment around Baba Yaga. So we're going to use this wire and shape out the base, and then we're going to cover this in aluminum foil, and then on top of that we're going to add some Super Sculpey Ultralight. And as always, all the tools and materials that you see me use in this video are listed in the description box below, along with my affiliate links if you want to purchase anything. Now let's get that ultralight on. And then of course we got to make Baba Yaga's mortar. This is the sort of big bucket thing that she's going to fly around in. I'm just going to shape it out roughly with some aluminum foil, use this container of Mod Podge to help me shape that, and then we're going to cover this in ultralight too. Alright, now we're going to use some snakes of clay to build up the sides of our mortar. And this is taking me back to like high school ceramics here. There we go. Get everything just roughly shaped out, because we're going to add another layer of clay on top of this later, so it doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. We've got our underlying structure for our base and the mortar. Let's go ahead and get this in the oven so it gets nice and hard. And once that's baked, let's start making Baba Yaga's armature. Just want to shape out her shoulders, waist, and legs, and then attach her arms with another piece of wire, like so. And now I'm going to bulk her out old school, Ace of Clay style. We're not going to use any ultralight for her bulking, just because I don't feel like waiting for it to bake. And when I did this, it reminded me why I love using ultralight so much for this now. But let's just shape her out with the foil and then secure everything with some masking tape. And once she's bulked out to my liking, it's time to cover her in clay. I'm using some Super Sculpey Living Doll. After adding that neck piece, I want to start shaping out her chest and adding her clothes. And here I'm just adding some snakes of clay to create some folds and wrinkles. Now I just want to add some wrinkles and details to her neck, and then roll out a snake of clay to create her neckline, like so, and then blend the outside edge of that snake of clay into the rest of her body so it looks like a shirt now. And let's figure out how I want her to sit in the mortar. That's not gonna work. Let's, maybe one leg in, one leg up top. That looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and start working on her legs. Add some clay, shape out the thigh and calf, and then go from there. Now I want to give her some pointy little slippers. So let's go ahead and add those, shape those out real nice, and then keep going. Now let's pop her in. Fits pretty good. Just shape things out a little bit more, and then finish off those slippers. And now I want to create the rest of her dress using this nice sheet of Cosclay. I'm using Cosclay because it stays flexible after it's baked and I don't have to worry about it cracking. Now I just want to blend that Cosclay into the Super Sculpey, like so. And then I'm adding this piece of rope for a sort of belt. I end up taking this off later because it doesn't look good. And then once everything is all together, let's go ahead and bake her. And once she's baked and completely cooled down, let's make her arms. Just want to add my clay for that, and then we can start working on her accessories. Let's start with the pestle. I'm using this piece of wire, making sure it is super straight, and then I'm going to add a thick piece of clay, a thick snake of clay I should say, over that, and then we're gonna add some bacon bond into this little crevice that I created, add my wire, blend everything together real nice, and then start detailing it. Now for the design of this, I want each end to taper into a teardrop. So I'm just adding some more clay and manipulating it until it's the shape that I like. Now I want the mortar and pestle to look like they're wood, so I'm going to go in and add some wood grain texture all over the pestle, and then we'll do this to the mortar later on. And now using a similar process to creating the pestle, let's go ahead and make her a broom. This is what she uses to cover her tracks as she travels. Now to create the bristles on the broom, I want to use this cone shape, cut a little slit in it, and then add my broomstick to that, and then start shaping the whole thing out. And to create the bristle texture, I'm just swiping my pen tool roughly on the surface. Now we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. Alright, now before we get into the rest of the video, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're a big business, a small business, a freelance designer, or sculptor like me, Squarespace has everything you need to showcase your brand, sell your products, and more. I've been using Squarespace for over 3 years now, even before they started sponsoring me, and I could not be happier with my experience. Their products are so streamlined and so easy to use that managing my website, aceofclay.com, is truly a breeze. Some of my favorite features include the portfolios and galleries. In my line of work, I have to show everything that I make to the world, and Squarespace's beautiful portfolios allow me to do just that. I even opened my online store where I sell stickers, posters, even original sculpts, and Squarespace makes everything so easy. I can track my inventory, even print shipping labels, I get notifications when I get a sale, and everything I need is right there in the platform. You can even sell digital downloads. They really have everything you need to start selling online. And at this day and age, if you're an online business, you've got to have a social media presence, and Squarespace allows you to integrate all your social media into any page of your website. So if everything I said sounds good, head on over to squarespace.com, start a free trial, and when you're ready to go live, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to save 10% on your purchase of a website or domain using my code ACEOFCLAY. Thanks again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Now back to our sculpture.
All right, now let's finish up that broom. And once that broom is done, we're going to set it aside with the pestle and start working on her head. Just want to cover a piece of aluminum foil with some clay and start shaping out the features, starting with the eye sockets. Now I'm going to add some little balls of clay into those eye sockets for the eyes, of course, and then start shaping out the eyelids and eyeballs simultaneously using whatever this tool is. It's like a pointy, flat spatula type thing. And I want to give her a large eye that is more open and one that is more closed. So she's got this sort of menacing grin on her face. Now let's go ahead and add her brow. Want the one on the smaller eye to be lower and the one on the bigger eye to be higher up. This will sell that grin look. Now I'm going to start shaping out her mouth. I want it to be slightly open because I want to show off her one tooth that she's going to have. And let's pop on her nose, start blending everything together, add the nostrils, and give her a bigger chin. Now I want to attach her head to the neck and then start blending it in. And then for a final touch on her head, I want to give her some big oversized ears. Alright, now to stick the pestle in her hand, I need to remove some clay because I can't just wrap some wire around it because it would get too bulky. So I took out a little chunk using an Excel blade, and I'm going to fill that in with clay and then add her hand around it. It was definitely worth this extra step. Now let's go ahead and attach her fingers and finish this part of her off. Want to pop her back in her mortar and go ahead and bake her one more time. And once she's baked and cooled down, let's put her broom in her other hand. Because the broom handle is a lot thinner than the pestle, I don't have to remove any clay, and I can just put her hand over this wrapped wire. Like so. Not too shabby. Now I just want to figure out her final positioning, and then we'll take her out of her mortar and start detailing the mortar by adding a nice layer of clay over the whole thing. Now using my pin tool, I want to break up the mortar into different sort of wood panels, so I just want to section it off first and then start adding my wood grain texture. And once that's done, let's set her inside. Looks pretty good. Now let's cover that base in clay and texture this too. Once that clay is on, using this ball of aluminum foil, I'm going to roll it on the surface to create a nice ground texture. This is super easy and super effective. I absolutely love doing this. Now let's figure out where I want to place everything. Do I want her leaning forward? Do I want her leaning backwards? Do I want her straight up and down? And I have her tilted forward just a little bit. I like her like that. So let's permanently attach her with some Bacon Bond. Let's stick her on, and she ain't going nowhere. And there we go. She's ready to bake one last time. And once she's baked and completely cooled down, it's time for paint. For this project, I'm using some folk art matte acrylics and war paints. Let's start with her skin. And once that skin color base coat is on, I'm going to go over that with a dark brown wash to get into all of her nooks and crannies, like the wrinkles and the pores and all the different things that I added. And let's paint her eyes. I'm going to leave the large one completely white so that it's blind. After dry brushing some highlights on her skin, let's start painting her clothes. Going with this nice shade of brown. Now let's go in and paint her legs and slippers. Now to paint all the wooden areas on the sculpt, like the mortar, I just want to brush on some dark brown paint that isn't watered down, and I'm going to wipe off the excess with some paper towel. This is going to get all of that dark brown into all of the little grooves, and it's going to make it look like wood. Super easy way to paint wood. Brown over Super Sculpey Original, and wiping off the excess. And I'm going to paint her base dark brown, and the reason the base is so plain is because I'm going to add a bunch of little miniature foliage stuff all over it once this is all dry. Now let's go ahead and paint her pestle and broom, and she'll be done with the painting step at least. And to finish off the broom bristles, I'm just going to add another dark brown wash to that. Now it's time for the finishing touches. Using this green piece of creepy cloth, we're going to give her a little shawl or cape. Want to dip that in Mod Podge mixed with a little bit of water and then drape it over her shoulders and shape it out. And for her hair, I'm going to use this gray synthetic wool and dip this into my Mod Podge mixture as well. And then we're going to stick it to her head. It's a little tricky because when the glue starts to dry on your fingers, it like pulls the wool every direction, and it's actually like a huge pain, but it pays off. And once the bulk of her hair is attached, I'm going to use some frizzy pieces of my synthetic wool and just attach them here and there and make her hair look all crazy. I honestly felt like I was sticking cat hair to her, covered in glue. Now for my favorite part, I'm going to start attaching some shrubbery and grass to the base, adding my glue and then pressing on these nice little pieces of foliage. Now let's add some grass, and I take out that piece of whatever that's called, the dried vines. I don't know why I put that there in the first place. Now let's put the grass on. I loved doing this. I think it adds a nice extra dimension to the sculpture. Could I have sculpted all of this and painted it? Yeah, sure, but this just looks cool and it's fun to do. So let's press on some more of my little spongy bushes. And then add some moss to the mortar. Want it to look old and used, like it's been sitting outside forever. And then why not add some twigs to her hair? I'm glad I did this. I think it looks cool like that. Just want to strategically place them. And then add some more little spongy bushes. And I also want to add some like moss and mold to her outfit. And to finish it off, let's stick on some little rocks with my tweezers. And this little rock wasn't cooperating at all. Stick on the last one. Now say it with me.
And she's done! My sculpture of Baba Yaga is complete. Let me know what you think of her in the comments. really like how she turned out. I liked that I made her a mixed media piece. I love all the little, you know, shrubbery and stuff at the bottom, and the moss and this and that, and then the real cape thing and the frizzy hair and the stuff in her hair, and I think she's really cool. This was a lot of fun. So let me know what you think of her in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ace of Clay. Go grab a new print or sticker at aceofclay.com, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.